tariffs that come out like on the 4th, was it? The 4th of March?
Sure, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So like we broker for 2 or 3 different companies. We're regular customers. We haul their stuff from Canada to US and then US to Canada. And on both sides of the border, nobody wanted to um hold on a minute.
Pay for freight or pay for
Yeah,
taxes?
yeah, they didn't want to pay for freight. They didn't want to pay the tariffs.
So in that situation, do they turn back and go back to the distribution company that they got their stuff from, or like how does it like?
No, like they didn't want to ship. No, but I talked to another dispatcher friend of mine who works for a different company, and they were still um, hauling freight. So I don't think people were paying the tariffs. Like when you're talking around, like I don't think anybody actually paid anybody anything. I'm not 100% sure on that, but like I've been sitting since last week. And then here this weekend, like for me, I was told to get ready to go for Monday. They're going to start shipping again, I guess, because some of the tariffs were put off. So, um, and I think some freight rates are up. Like people didn't get their stuff for a week. Now they want it. And it's on fire to get it. Like it's a, like hurry up, get it there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what people don't realize is if, if we're not, so if I was off last, 2 days equals a week worth of work. So now it's a week behind, 2 weeks behind in production, you know, what, so I'm really not understanding, um, I'm really not understanding the entire function of this. Like, did, is the US shaking everything up to start something? Like we know something's wrong here
Oh, definitely.
in Canada and US and the other common in all the countries. So did some of these leaders, I'm wondering, uh, start to shake things up to get things? It's like something just doesn't make sense to me. Like, what do you like? What are you thinking? It's not making sense.
Canada's caving. Canada's in a lot of trouble. Canada knows it's in a lot of trouble. And Canada's been in a lot of trouble for the longest time because Canada has betrayed its own people. The Canadian proper, the European expansion.
It must be the same in the States too, though, like in the US and
But
other
here's the
countries.
thing with America, a majority of America is American proper though. That's the thing. A majority of the Europeans were never really allowed to be called Canadians. We were never allowed. Like I said
Mhm.
earlier in the show, I was given detention in grade 2 or grade 3. I
Yeah.
gotta talk to Paul because he remembers the teacher. Her name was Miss Leo. I got detention for saying I was Canadian, right?
Hmm.
I got in trouble even at workplaces for calling myself Canadian. I'm like, okay, I'm a Portuguese. I'm a Portuguese citizen. I'm from Portugal. Okay, that's fine. I could deal with that. I was never accepted to be like a Canadian. Neither was my
Yeah.
dad and my mom, right? So
Yeah.
so in America, when I was living in America, I noticed something. Was I would meet someone down there, just talking to them, and I would ask them, where are you from? They're like, I'm an American. I'm like, well, you don't look American. I'm like, they would say, oh, well, I was born in Saudi Arabia, but I'm an American, right? I would meet
Yeah.
people from all over the world that were living in America that would proudly say, I'm an American. I'm like, oh, but you, mas tú hables español. Well, you speak Spanish. Where are you from? Oh, yo soy de Costa Rica, mas yo hablo. So I'm talking to them in Spanish. I'm like, okay, so you're Costa Rican. No, no, no. I'm an American. You see what I
Yeah.
mean? The pride is there. They want to be American proper.
Yeah.
But in Canada, I just feel that we were never really given the European that built all this crap, the Italians, the Greeks, the Portuguese, the Hungarians, all these people that came to build all this stuff, were never really given the opportunity to be a true Canadian. And that's
Yeah.
why I
Like an
identify as a
outsider.
Portuguese.
Like an out.
Yes, yes. My wife, you ask my wife, what are you? She's Filipina. She doesn't say she's Canadian. She was born in the Philippines, right?
Yeah.
My kids
Well,
are Portuguese Filipinos, right? So,
you want to know something though, Mike? I was born and raised here in
mhm.
Canada. I'm like second generation here. Oh, wait a minute. So Republican, yeah. Anyways, but like I left Ontario when I was 21 years old, moved to Nova Scotia, and but you're always an outsider there. When you even in BC, like when I was trucking into British Columbia, Golden, BC, talking to the lady at the truck stop there, like you get to know these people because you're there all the time, you know.
Hmm.
And she says that in BC, like in Golden, each one of those, they have their clique. They're cliquey. They're for their people only. Like, and everybody else is outside.
Hmm.
Provincially, it's like that in Canada.
The town I'm
If
in
you
is the town I'm in
if
is like
you
that too. I was never
yeah
accepted in this town.
yeah
I opened a business. People don't shop here,
you'll never be accepted there. You're always going to be an outsider.
and it's not like I live in Beverly Hills. You know, I live in a two
No,
stoplight town off of an interstate or a highway, right?
can
I don't
all
live in Beverly Hills, but I'm still looked at as some piece of garbage that came here to try and
yeah
make this
yeah
town or change this place
yeah
or change their ways, right? And I get
yeah.
that. People don't talk to me. They look at me and they look at me like I'm the biggest piece of garbage, like
Canada,
looking at me, you know?
Canada is very clicky. It's I don't know how like I don't know. It's just very clicky.
So
They're
I was
they
never ever considered a Canadian my whole life, and that's it. I don't. I'm a Portuguese. I have my where's my wallet? I got my citizenship and everything. I don't. You know, so
yeah
it's just one of those things. So Canadians were never people that came from Europe were never because when I grew up in Toronto, you were either Italian, you were either Portuguese, you were either Greek, you were either like Romanian, Polish.
now
You were never Canadian. You know what I mean?
when you came to Ontario, Toronto area,
Hmm.
are you old enough to remember all? Like I think it's all scattered out now. I don't think it's as prominent, but each burb, each street and burb, there was the Italian section, the
Yes,
Irish
I lived in
section,
that. I lived in that, and also
Cabbage,
P
Cabbage Town.
Yep, PDS 10 in the live chat could back
Yeah,
me up. He lived like that too. We all lived like that too. Uh,
yeah, and you stuck to your own. You weren't allowed to like you. The elders there made sure the youngers didn't intermingle. You stayed with your people, and
well,
you
no, because no, hold on. Yes, but my babysitter, the people that babysat me were Italian, right?
Mhm.
And then the people that I used to, walk to school with, like, were Greek, right? The Europeans always kind of kept together in a way, and
Yeah,
they had
that's
their
right.
segregation, like they lived on different streets, like you're saying. But a lot of us were hand in hand, and we were never really officially ever Canadians. My dad was never really, my mom, you know what I mean? Like my wife's a
Yeah,
Filipina, right? So we're not in America. People are American. They could be Arab. They could be from Costa Rica, Brazil. They're Americans, and they're proud.
yeah,
Here,
yeah.
we don't have that. I'm sorry. Maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm just bitter. Maybe I'm just, but I'm just giving you my my life
Well,
experience.
I was born and raised here, and I consider myself Canadian. I don't have any other. I don't my I've got some Italian, Ukrainian, and Welsh mixed in me that I know of. Then uh, my immediate, and then like I've never done the DNA thing. Maybe there's something else I don't know, but like I don't know anything about the other countries. I don't speak the language. I don't like. I'm Canadian. I was born here.
Right. I understand. But I'm just letting you know, when you're in America, everyone's an American. Everyone's proud to
Yeah.
be an American. And that's what America has. Canada, I don't know. Just we just were never allowed to be Canadian. I
Like
had to
I remember hearing stories. Like my mom's boyfriend was French, and they were from Kapuskasing, like Northern Ontario. So I remember hearing stories like like the farm communities, like they used to produce those French people up there used to produce good quality milk, cheese, like their farm stuff, everything they grew on the farm. They tried to market it in the early days, like the early days, uh, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, and they marketed their product to the southern part of Ontario, and they wouldn't take it. They refused their meat, their cheese, everything, anything they produced. They wanted just the central, like there's been a war, French and English. It started there, I think. I remember hearing stories in Nova Scotia how the British and the English, that was the French, the English, they're in Halifax. There's they used to boil people in oil. You know what I mean? They tortured people. There's so much history in Canada that nobody ever talks about or digs up. But like I remember being in I had a surgery or something, or somebody was in the hospital, and talking to these old military guys that were in the nursing home or hospital in Halifax, and the takeovers. It was people hated each other. They physically hated each other. If you were a French or an English, or people were put into areas, and
That reminds
that
me. Let
that's
me
Canada.
let
That's the
me
history of Canada.
let me add to that. Hold on. That reminds me of my high school. I think I was in grade 11. The teacher at the beginning, the first class of the year, like the first class in grade 11, I can't remember what subject it was. The teacher would say, "Put your hand up if you speak Portuguese." So whoever put their hand up, it was like half the class. And the teacher
Mhm.
would say, "Go to the back of the class. I don't want to deal with you."
Wow,
Yeah. So,
that's incredible. Like that wouldn't go on. That doesn't go on today, does it? Or
well, there's no
maybe it
Portuguese to
does.
do it to anymore, right?
No,
Because
but there's
remember in
like the other national.
2006, remember we talked about this in 2006, 7, and 8,
Mhm.
Portuguese were the problem with Canada. Remember I keep playing that Rick Mercer video for you guys?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, how Portuguese are Canada's problem. So they deported
I,
56,000
I
of us, and then now they claim it never happened.
I wonder why. Like something just doesn't click with me. Why? Why is everybody else here? And you know what I mean? Like back then, like who was running things? But like what caused that back then? It just doesn't. I just don't grasp that.
Well,
The
I mean,
Portuguese built a lot of stuff here, man. Like the infrastructure.
so, and I'm just saying that, yeah, we don't get it. I just said, well, whatever. It's Canada. It's their country. They could treat us and do what they want to us, right? And then fast forward to 2019, 2020. Oh, this equal this, equal that. We don't hire them. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. So you want us to build the bank, but we can't work in the banks. You see what
And
I'm saying? That's the
did you
problem.
remember? Yes. Did you remember Doug Ford saying we want to bring back the Portuguese to because we want them to come build infrastructure, and they said no, we're
Yeah,
not doing it.
we're
You
gonna
fucked
bring
us
in a
over
hundred
already.
thousand.
And they said no.
Yeah, nope. We're not moving
Yeah.
to a country that's cold 9 months of the year, and we're not moving to a country where we're gonna have to. basically work our asses off, and then if we get enough money for a down payment for our house, you deport us. What's the point?
Yeah. 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 See, which is kind of bringing me to something else. Like, you know, the I don't know if they're, what are they, migrants, immigrants, the ones that are here now.
Oh, these are migrants. I'm an immigrant.
So,
Migrants
but I
are other
mean,
people. Migrants are people that come to Canada on the taxpayer's dime. They're given benefits and money and all this stuff, and they're given government jobs, and they're told to vote Liberal. And this is why Mark Carney is going to win the
yes,
election.
yeah, that could be. See these $1 million homes and these businesses and all the men come here, they want to drive a truck, so they open up a business, they buy a truck, they get financing. But who's financing somebody who has nothing, like no history? They come off the plane, they learn, they get the CDL, they go buy a truck. The RBC Bank, TD Bank allows them to have the financing. Like, I can't get the financing. How do these people get the financing? Like, what why am I being discriminated? I don't have, like they just got off the plane, man.
Look, when I wanted to buy my house, no bank would give me a penny because I was business for self, because I own my own department store in a mall in downtown Vancouver. They wouldn't give me a penny because I was business for self. They wouldn't give me anything because I was business for self. So I said, I'm not going to be able, like, here's my income. Here's my income for the last 13 years. Here's all the money I have. This is what I have. These are my assets. I want to buy a house, and if I don't pay for the house, you can just take the house away and my down payment. But they wouldn't give it to me. They wouldn't give it to me. So then I said, you know what? I'm going to leave Vancouver because I'm not paying $2 million for a house that I could buy in Florida for 40 grand. So I came to where I was here in 2016, and then they were raising interest rates back then in 2016. So everyone was unloading these houses here in this small town because they felt it was going to tank. So I picked up my house for $260, and it's very spacious. It's a very big house. It's huge. I have videos on YouTube. You could see it with the huge parking lot and everything in a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
So I paid $260. But even when I bought the house, they had to investigate me for money laundering. And they kept asking me, what are you buying a house for? What do you want a house for? Well, because I have a family. It's like they wouldn't even sell me the house when I had the money to buy it.
This is the point we're trying to make here.
But a Chinaman comes off a plane with a suitcase full of cash, they'll give him the property.
Yes, that's what we're trying to make the point here. That's the exact point here. So how is China and these Indian people, I think China and the banks are working together and letting these Indian people come in and buy us up. Because you and I can't buy a house. At least they wouldn't give it to me. They won't finance me. You got to have, like my wife's cousin, her niece. They make six-figure income. The bank would only give them a $400,000 house. That's what they had to buy here.
Wait, you could buy a house for 400 grand?
Or Belleville. Fucking $400,000 house here is a teardown almost, or a complete reno.
Wow, that's pretty cheap, because everything I'm looking around here starts at $650, $750.
Yeah.
For a house that, again, you could buy in Mobile, Alabama for 40 grand with land. So we're getting really, and I'm not making this shit up, because you're a truck driver and you go around to these places all over the States and you see what I'm talking about when it comes to real estate.
Yeah. Yes, I do. Yeah. 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 You're right there. And you want to know something? I've been to small towns, like off the interstate. You go into these small towns.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a little town, but there's a factory there. They build shit, or they produce shit,
right.
or
or lumber or minerals. natural gas or something.
They fab something or make potato chips or cat food or like the whole town works at this one. This is so when when they write when they write music songs about this town, you know that the whole town works there. So if something shuts down, like this is what when Trump is going around, see it's cheaper real estate, so businesses work there, people work there. It's cheaper labor, middle class people. So when he's putting tariffs on this and that, and our trucks aren't rolling, and we're not going down there picking, are these people being sent home? I just heard in Canada today or the other day that if there's some program with the tariff bullshit now that if Canadian manufacturers, if you lose days, if you lose a week or days, the Canadian government is gonna supplement your lost days. But I'm a truck driver. I'm an owner operator. I'm not getting supplemented shit. So it's not for everybody. There's so much garbage with this political bullshit lately, man. Fuck.
It's out of control, and I'm really concerned of where and how it's heading. And yeah, okay, now we got these problems, but here's the thing: we've always had these problems, and I've been trying to wake people up. I was watching a 2013 video I made. I found on one of the backup hard drives I have. I tried to look it up on YouTube. They took the video down, and I'm talking about how people won't be able to people will be bought out of food banks will go nuts, people blah blah blah. I was going into mass exodus in that video. I was talking about Australia and New Zealand and Canada, how we sold out to the highest bidders, and I'm like, wow, this is like a 2013 video. I'm in Vancouver at the park in the summer talking about this, and it's like it was there. This problem existed then, but now it's gotten so bad that that now we're being tariffed and being so that we could shake the cage to get these politicians to wake up. That's what they're doing, right?
Well, see, that's what some of us like. Some of us still like we don't understand Trump, but we understand there's something has to be done because it's not working now, and people are going to get upset. Something has to be done. And look at all the media. They're making fun of Trump and they're this and that and blah. But something has to be done. Who is going to take the first step?
Look
at Lincoln with the greenback. He took the first step. They started making money. They were profitable. The
Lincoln with the greenback, but he ended up getting shot for it. Right? He ended up getting shot because once Lincoln introduced the greenback, he went off the crown.
What's going to happen with Trump? Look at the. What about BRICS coming back? Like, what about these other people that are not just Lincoln, but all these other countries that are? So or what? I don't understand.
Well, I got Deadhouse in the house. Deadhouse has a comment. My heating bill was $600 this month for a small one-story house, and I don't even keep the heat on. It's effing ridiculous. That's Deadhouse in the comments live. He's telling us I think my heat bill is like $540 or something.
Is that Canadian or U.S. or what part of the world is that?
That's got to be 100%. That's Canada. I'm willing to bet 25 cents. That's Canada. Nobody pays $600 heat bill in the U.S. You have to have a mansion to pay $600 USD for your heat. No, it's got to be Canada. I'm willing to bet a whole quarter for that.
I just don't understand where we're going. They've upped everything, but the wages don't go up.
Again, wages are not keeping up with inflation, and it's old news. Now, here's how we fix it. This is how we fix it. We take all this foreign-owned property, all of it. Yep. All of it. They're estimating remember I made a video saying that it said we're going to have vacant home wars coming next?
Yeah.
I think in Canada we got 4.6 million vacant homes across Canada. And I think the condos, townhomes, if you take all those properties, just like Huckabee is doing in Montana, Sarah Huckabee, you know what she's doing, right? She's telling,
No.
I put the video up too from Two Mike and the Nights ago. I put up the video saying, get off our land, CCP. We don't want to deal with you guys. Why are we dealing with communists? So she's saying, get off our land, CCP. Now they're taking back
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
a couple of hundred farms. They're taking it back about $2.7 billion in real estate from Chinese nationals. They're taking back so much. Okay?
Isn't the governor of Florida doing that with Chinese that bought in Florida? Is that not what's going on there right now?
I don't know if it's as vocal as Huckabee is, because Sarah Huckabee is very vocal about this. It's making front pages. Like, we want our land back. Get the hell off our land. Get out of here. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Right? So you get where I'm going here. So once
They're
Canada
just
could do that, then people in the comments, oh, Mike, you can't blame the Chinese. Blame your governments. No, take it back. Okay? And then the Chinese could blame the governments that allowed them to break the law. You go blame those governments.
Yeah, they broke the law. That's exactly what it is. They broke the law. They come in here, bought what they shouldn't have. It was illegal for them to do that. Why? It's illegal. It should be illegal.
So,
But like even as you said on other Mike in the Nights, the in the centers, like the bigger, like in Toronto, Mississauga, Toronto places, youth. There's no youth to maintain the like. We're getting older. You know, you're getting older. You just had a birthday. So who all is going to live there, maintain it?
Pakistan.
Well, maybe. I guess.
The problem is they can't maintain the infrastructure. Once the European proper dies, a guy was telling me, oh, we got a lot of repairmen, we got service workers, we know how to... Mafangulo, you don't have nothing. Once the European expansion goes, goodbye.
Look at the convenience stores and truck stops and some of the things that the Packies take over now. There's one in Kildare on Highway 7 and 41 here in Ontario. It went under. And they've opened it back up, but you can't. It's just a toilet, and you can't even buy a coffee there. You can buy a bag of chips, a lottery ticket, and a Snickers bar, and gas.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just they run everything to the ground. Nothing left. They don't maintain anything. They don't redo or maintain anything. They use it to nothing. Probably like they had to do in their country.
Mm-hmm. Well, you leave a third world country to bring over your third world, you know.
Yeah. I know.
Okay.
I don't know what's gonna happen, buddy. But Trump has kicked the hornet's nest, and he's gonna keep fucking kicking it until, like, that's what he's gonna do for 4 years. He's gonna keep kicking the fucking hornet's nest till we're all stung and bit up and swollen and until something changes. That's what I think's happening here.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I don't know what anybody else thinks, but I don't hate the man. He knows something's wrong. There's a handful of people know something's wrong upstairs. It's got to do with the money. Mm-hmm. There's too much. I've been saying this for years, Mike. There's too much dirty money around. That's why you and I can't have some in our pocket.
Can you see me there? Is my backup camera working?
Yeah, I see you pretty good.
Perfect. I want to make sure you could visually see me in case I do a visual call with people. I'm just testing this out to make sure we got this, just to make sure we got this whole thing working here properly. There you go. I could see you too. Okay, perfect. This works.
We're just testing it out.
Just testing it out. I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know how to... It's not like we weren't warning people about these all these years. It's not like the information was there.
Yeah.
It's not like we just decided to make this up this week with all these
Oh,
influencers. You noticing the pattern of the influencers where they're going with their stuff too? Are you
yeah.
noticing the
All
influencers are
I'm
following something?
it's all coming together. It is. All this post channel stuff, these new like there's new ones that are popping up on my phone all the time. I'm seeing all these new people and they're all talking about the same shit we've been talking about, you've been talking about since trends of the housing market, since you started this.
Hmm.
Like so is more word getting out? Like are people waking up and they have to get a source from somewhere and just run with it to add to another one, to another one, to another one. Like
I think it's
I don't.
I've been banging my head against the wall for 5 years about this controlled information distribution, and then it became prevalent that it was USAID that was funding these people. So USAID was funding 7,100 and some odd influencers or content creators in Canada.
Yeah,
7,100 in Canada. They were
yeah,
funding influencers in Ethiopia, Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, everywhere.
yeah. But
So
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where this is going. Like people are saying, don't buy anything now. Don't make big purchases. Uh, but in my industry, trucking, e- stuff has to move. They were talking. My parking lot guy there that I rent from. He goes to the town meeting there last week or whatever in Oshawa. Now, we've talked about this before. Oshawa is a test city on Mike and the Night. We mentioned that for 15-minute cities with these scooters and all that. They're going to tear up on both sides of Simcoe Street from the 401. There's a huge project coming. It's to do with the GO trains, the transit trains, and they're tearing up from 401 all the way up to John Street. I'm not sure how many city blocks that is, but he said they're gonna tear it all up and they're gonna make sky rises, like skyscrapers. So is this the plan for all these cities? 15 like it's making more the more we talk on Mike in the Night, the more I understand about what's kind of might be happening. The 15-minute cities. They're really going to go through with it.
they
They want a
15-minute
big.
cities, I mean, were
They
designed
want a
for
huge.
a more of a sense of control over our whereabouts, destination, where we're going, how we're going, who we're meeting with. These governments are so, how do you know, infatuated with trying to find out what our next move is going to be. And
Yeah,
that's, this is really concerning why they need to know what underwear I wear, who my wife is, who I'm talking to. They're so infatuated with this. It's just beyond. Because our life expectancy, and I talked about this many times, our life expectancy is only about 67 years and we're dead. You know that, right?
yeah.
So what are you,
I'm going
why
to
are
be gone in
these,
my 50s.
dude, why are these in such a big need to know everything we're doing? We're going to be dead soon. Who cares? Let us be
Yeah,
free.
yeah,
Mafangulo.
yeah. I hear you. I'm a diabetic truck driver. Been doing it 23 years. I eat garbage. Try to eat good, but it doesn't happen. Eat a lot of shit. They took away all the mom and pop truck stops, so there's not a lot of fresh veg and stuff out there, really. I don't know where we're headed, buddy. I don't know.
It's concerning. When
Well, the
so,
price of the vehicles, I think I told you this 2019 Ram that I bought. So I went to the dealership, tried to get, as new as what I could for what the bank would allow me. The bank would only allow to lend me $32,000. That's what I bought this 2019 pickup for last like 9 months ago.
Wow. I
And
remember that. I
yeah,
remember that. You asked my advice on that, and I said maybe you should
yeah,
pass for now. But
yeah.
but but uh,
But but I'm just saying, but it just like there's a fucking guy here. I've worked since I was 11 years old. Okay, I don't have a house. I don't have investments. I got shit. I got dealt the shit card. Like I just every time I built up, there was a breakup or a move or a something. And then when I was in my 30s, I followed the money. I did oil field work. I built ice roads up north, like north, like up near the territories, Alberta,
mhm.
BC. I followed the money.
Well, here's the thing. Imagine working your entire life in this country, your entire life, and then you look back and you have absolutely nothing to show for it. That's got
That's
to be
me.
really heartbreaking.
That's me. I've got nothing to show for it. I got experience and stuff. I got stories to tell, but I got shit. I worked my whole life. And when you come to Canada, that that's could happen to you. That could very well happen if you don't pay to go get your education and become a government worker and do the
Well, just like Mitch Madden said back in the day, and I was trying to tell this to my wife, that you would work the corporate ladder or you'd make it somewhere with a corporation or a business or get hired on and work your ass off and start from the ground up and work your ass off, or
yeah,
you started your own business and made it on your own and basically fought the good fight, hired and fired and did what you had to do,
that's right.
right? But if you
That's what,
couldn't get on the corporate ladder and you couldn't start your own business, you had to work for the government, and everyone looked at them people as the losers because they have to be on the public tit. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a doctor or a firefighter or a nurse. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying
no,
going to work for HR for some city
yeah,
waterworks or some shit like that,
right.
six-figure incomes, right?
Ev-
So
Like you, like every job that I did, landscaping and work in the oil field and all the jobs that I did, I got good at what I did. Like I learned what I had to do and I got good at it, and I worked myself up to a certain point. But as I could go into like learning management, like learning how to run stuff, like I was a operations guy a few times in different jobs that I run crews. But that's as far as they let me go. And if I almost got a little bit notched up, somebody bumped me off.
interesting.
Somebody else got it. So that's what in 2016 I said, "Fuck it." I just became I went and bought a truck, and my wife was working still at FedEx, and she managed the paperwork and that, and I drove the truck. I was the grunt, and this is what we've been doing for 8 9 years, trying to
Yeah.
survive, and it's tough. As you know, when you do it for yourself, it's tough. You put in a lot of hours, a lot of time, and it's a roller coaster ride. And like month to month, it's like a roller coaster. I have a good month, a bad month, 2 good months, 2 bad months. Like I think a lot of Canadians are probably like that. Or I think there's a lot of Canadians just like me. Like we don't have shit. I don't have a pen. Like I'm gonna have just a basic pension.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm
My
just
my
it's hard for me to
I know you're
absorb
doing.
this.
You're reading too. Um,
No, no, no,
my
no.
like my
I'm listening to every word you're telling me. I'm not reading anything. I'm just trying to absorb
uh,
what you're telling me because it really hurts and I can feel your pain.
my now listen now. So it must have been during the 50s, 60s, into the 70s, and then after the 70s, it got cut off, I think, or it dwindled. But like my aunts and uncles, they're all passed away. I've got a couple aunts left now, up around their 80s, but they're getting pensions from their spouses from the jobs they worked.
Hmm.
See, somebody fought for us at
Yes.
one time in Canada. We all and during the 50s, 60s, 70s, and then it dwindled off. They all had, decent paid. They had packages, man, that set them up. You stayed with that job for life. Today, like in the 2000s, people jump from job to job to job. I don't know anybody that's been in the same job for like 20, 30 years. Nobody.
Yeah.
There's no job stability in Canada.
Interesting. Well, it's kind of I don't know.
But maybe that's just the people I know. Maybe once you get out of the realm of circle that I know, maybe there's somebody somewhere that they've been doing it for that many years. I don't know. Like, this is why Trump is kicking the can. He's like remembering the old days. I've heard it come out of his mouth. He wants it to be like it was.
Well, Elon Musk just told everyone again there's two genders. Oh my God. So I'm just, you know, my thoughts is on that guy. Guys, if you're just tuning into Mike in the Night, just go back to the beginning of the show. We covered a lot of the topics you guys are talking about here now. In the live chat, we have covered all the stuff, the Carney stuff, everything that's going on. Yeah, so go back to back to the beginning of the show if you guys want to check that out. And
we're just trying to kick the can around here to figure out what's coming, because Trump is kicking that hornet's nest, man. And Poilievre, we know Poilievre's, I think he's already got his pension. I think, what is it, $3 million or some shit. He's 55. Like, what's he gonna do for us? I don't know. Maybe we should become the 51st state, or Canada should assume the United States and just come up with a new flag, a new name, a new money. I don't know. Maybe we're a big land country, but man, we got nobody here.
I watched. I saw comments. I saw comments surface because I get to see the comments as they come along. I get to see the comments as they come along on old videos I posted from 10, 15 years ago. So somebody posted on my Amero to be a reality I think it was by 2020. I was dead wrong on the date, but somebody commented on that video, and I noticed there's a comment on this video from like 13 years ago. I go back, and I'm talking about the Amero, and I'm talking about how the unification of the United States, America, and Canada need to unite to unite a stronger currency against the euro. And I was talking about the euro at the time. And then I find my next Amero video, the Amero, and I was 5 years later saying we need to combat or go against the BRICS. Because in that time, 10 years ago, when that other video came out, I was talking about Dilma Rousseff was working hard to unite India, Brazil, China, Russia in a unified currency. And I was saying, whoa. If they do that, we're screwed here in North America. We need to unify. So something somewhere is going to give somehow, because people in Canada can't keep working their entire lives and now can't even afford to buy food. First, they said the Canadians didn't want the jobs, which they did. They said they didn't want to work at banks. They don't want to work at airports, which they did. Then they said, oh, why you just rent? What are you going to own for? Foreign investors are buying properties. Now you can't even own a house in your own country, and you can't even food. You can't even afford to buy food, and they're putting shit in our food, and they're spraying us. So what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, buddy. I don't know. Something. I just mentioned to somebody here a little while ago. I think there's going to be like 3 countries. There's going to be Asia, like China, Asia, the Russia thing, and the American thing could be like Canada, Mexico. Like, I don't know. I think it's going to be a takeover.
You're talking about 1984. You're talking about how India now is part of Asia, and then what's going to happen, part of Asia. Europe will be part of Asia. They're going to call it Eurasia. It's going to be one big, they're going to keep doing that. So they don't blame the people that are target, the people that are screwing you up get mixed in the pot. Right?
That's right.
So you know what really used to piss me off a lot was when people say, oh, these Asian people are destroying our housing market. No, it's not the Asian people. My wife's from the Philippines. She's not their people aren't destroying the housing market. Okay, it's the Chinese. Stop saying Asian people are destroying our housing market with money laundering. No. It's the Chinese, not the Filipinos, not the Koreans, not the South Koreans or North Koreans, not the Japanese.
But if they all blend together, then
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody takes the blame. Doesn't matter. Canada, U.S., North America, Russia, Asia. Like, I don't know. All these countries, man. Like, everybody wants out. Everybody's coming to what they believe is free country, but we're not. I don't think we're really that free, are we?
Well,
Like, we're being.
if
I've
you,
never been
again,
to another country.
economically
Other than
wise, if you work and live and educated and raised in the country and you can't afford the real estate in your own country, you're not, we don't have an economy, we're not free. We're not a free,
I'm not
because
free.
home
I don't
ownership
feel
is part
free.
of the freedom and individuality, right? Part of being a Canadian. So if you can't even own real estate here and it's cold 9 months of the year,
Yeah.
what's the point? You don't have an
I don't.
economy. You're not free.
I don't feel free, Mike. Like, I'm 53. I'm going to be 54 next month, but I'm not free. If I don't work, whether I'm sick or or healthy or tired or the weather's cold or bad, or if I don't move and work, I don't eat. I don't pay my bills. How much longer my, I'm asking myself, I'm going to be 54. How much longer am I going to be able to keep this up?
Mm-hmm.
When does the borrowed time come? Fuck, my uncles were already retired by pretty soon by now. On pensions is what we were talking earlier. They had packages, man. You could retire early, fucking shit paid, house paid off, vehicles paid off, everything paid
And a
off,
cottage.
cottage, boat, like, and their buddies like my uncles had all that.
So.
They're dead and gone now. Like, they would have been, they would have been over 80s now.
Mm-hmm.
But some of their wives are like, a couple aunts are still alive. They're getting paid their pension plus the work pension from the dead husband.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
It is old money. Anyways,
Old
dude.
money.
Anyways, I'll
Yeah,
let you
buddy.
go. We've been talking for almost an hour here, and
Sure.
we'll get you back on soon enough on Mike in the Night. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Junkyard Dog on Mike
Yeah,
in the
buddy.
Night.
I'm gonna head to
Keep
bed
us
now.
posted. Go to bed. Go to sleep. We'll talk.
All right,
We'll
buddy.
talk soon. Okay, brother.
All right, later, brother.
Take care. Bye.